The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Good.
What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome to Talk Live Paranormal with Shannon and Bill. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mr. Bill,
And I'm Shannon.
and with me as always, the beautiful, lovely Shannon.
Aww.
We're coming to you live from Armed Radio Productions. And we want to thank everybody for being here. I want to start off, as we always do, to all the past, the present, and the future men and women out there serving in our armed forces. Thank you very much for everything you do each day. You give us the right to do what we do and have the fun we do, but you guys need to come home safe. You have family members here waiting for you. We want you guys to come home safe. We'd like to know if you come home safe. Send us your, go on Facebook. Let us know when you make it back. We'd love to say hello and welcome home, and thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amen.
We also want to say a big thank you to all those firefighters out there in the West that have been working on everything, trying to get those fires under control, because the United States is in one hell of a conundrum right now. The West is on fire. The East is getting ready to get drowned. For anybody who's listening and is out there in the East, please take cover. Get the hell out of there. People, you can replace your house, you can replace your TVs and your VCRs. VCRs? Okay, you can replace your DVD. I'm showing you how old I am.
Take your DVR.
Take your VCR with you. You never know. Your Betamax. That stuff can be replaced. Life can't. Come on. That you can always start over. I know it's a hard thing to hear, but be safe. Get out of there. There's mandatory evacuations there for a reason. This is going to be one hell of a storm when it hits on Friday, so please be safe.
Yes.
Now, I got something. We normally start off with other things, but I'm starting off with something tonight that really, really got underneath my skin hard. I got a phone call this morning, and my niece, who was upset, and I didn't realize how deep it went until I started digging into it. At her school, she asked if they were going to talk about September 11th and all the firefighters that died and all the people that died and all the cops that gave their lives and all those first responders that gave their lives and those planes that hit the Twin Towers and the Pennsylvania and then the Pentagon. You know what? They wouldn't allow them to talk about it.
Bullshit.
Way I understand, one of the teachers said, there's no proof that it actually happened. Kiss my fat, furry ass. You know what? They don't talk about history in school anymore. They want to erase it because we've never landed on the moon. World War I and World War II, we can't prove they ever happened. What, Vietnam never happened, Korea never happened, Desert Storm didn't happen. The guys right now, what are they out there playing in the sandbox behind their mama's house? I don't think so. You know what? It irritates the shit out of me when people, I do not want to get political, because I'm not going to get political, because I don't believe politics has a right to be anywhere in the United States, because it's a bunch of bullshit. But
Amen.
Come on. You got teachers. My brother said it the best. There's some teachers out there that are trying to push their political agenda on the students and change their minds and they're not even allowing them to make up their own minds on stuff. They're brainwashing kids, and that shit needs to stop. Everybody who's listening, you need to take a stand against that crap. Because it was said a long time ago, he who doesn't know about the past is doomed to relive it.
Right.
You have to watch this stuff. You have to know what happened, because people have to know that stupidity has no place in life. You know what? People can get mad about this. We all get mad. I mean, I got mad. I get mad all the time, but I work for the government. But I get mad about a lot. I get mad about a lot of things. I get upset about things. We all get mad. We get upset, but life's too damn short. But if we don't know what we're getting mad about, these kids that are all mad about guns. I don't know, Shane. I don't know if you saw it the other night. There was this college that put out this whole thing about semi-automatic versus fully automatic weapons, and the one surgeon that was standing there and was supposed to be their big push against fully automatic weapons, he kind of stood up and he went, "I have a question. That's a fully automatic 9mm. That's a semi-automatic 9mm laying right there." He goes, "If I were to shoot you with that semi-automatic and shoot you with that fully automatic, what's the difference? You both be shot.
Right.
The hole's going to be the same. So what the hell's the difference? There isn't a difference. It's still a bullet." And I loved what he said, though. He has yet to ever see a gun kill a person. The bullet flying out of the end at 2,000 feet per second. Now that bullet, that's what's going to get you. But it's people that don't understand and don't know and think that just because. You know what? I don't even want to say that. Well, I'm gonna, because I may not know and I may be wrong, but I'll be the first to admit it if I'm wrong. I don't want to push my political views or my religious views on anyone. So why do people think they have the right to do that?
I don't know.
I actually heard this. A guy standing at the VA with his grandfather, thinking. And he brought his grandfather in. You know, it's a good grandson when you're going to bring your grandfather in to get his treatment that he needs.
Right.
But he stood right there and said, "All veterans are baby killers."
Who said that?
This kid who brought his grandfather into the VA. "All veterans are baby killers. That's all you guys are. You just go out and murder people in the name of something you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You little pissant bastard. What'd you just say to me? You may want to walk away from this smoking section." Because half the people standing out here that work here are veterans, and all these other people that are sitting out here are veterans. And some of these old guys, they may be old and fragile and not move real well, but I bet you they can kick your ass. I don't understand.
These days have no respect. Unless they were brought up in a military family, they have no idea.
They don't understand what the people have went through and how the people are still going through on a daily damn basis. But to sit there and say to my niece, "No, we don't discuss that because there's no proof that it actually happened." Did you not see two big ass buildings in the middle of Manhattan?
That teacher doesn't need to be a teacher.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't at all. It irritates the hell out of me. It's kind of a slap in the face in a lot of people in my family. You know, my uncle, I have 4 uncles that served in the military. My grandpa was in the my one grandpa was in the military. I was in the military. My wife was in the military. I have cousins on both sides of the family. We have a very big military and a proud military tradition in our family. And to sit there and say that there's no proof that any of this happened, and there's no proof that we're actually overseas doing what they're doing. They're just wasting money away. Don't get me wrong. I believe that a lot of the stuff they're doing is wasting money away. But damn it, don't sit here and tell me to my face or to my niece's face, who my niece is very proud of our military heritage and her military family, because she can tell you everything about anything. She knows exactly where I served, where my dad was at, my uncles were at, her uncles and her grandpa, and they go on my brother's wife's side, all the people there that served. My niece wants to serve.
I was about to say she might want to serve one day too. So,
hey, listen, I figured it out. My niece is going to one of 2 places: either prison or the White House. There's no way in between. She's that damn smart. It's scary and talented. My niece is one of the most talented people I know. She's the only young lady that I know that got bored and taught herself how to play the flute and can listen to any song in the world and within 10 minutes be playing that song on the flute perfectly. I mean, nice. I taught her. She loves to read. She got bored and read War and Peace in a weekend. That's like one of the thickest books out there.
That is a thick book.
I gave her a book on Shakespeare so she could read it, and it's the original writings of Shakespeare. She, while was reading, took notes and wrote down grammar errors in the book. Thinking, so, but to
How
sit
old is
there
she?
13 or 14.
Junior
She's
high?
13 or 14. Well, she was. She's in. I think she's going into 8th grade. She's in 8th grade now. So, but they were going to have her skip to 10th. She's that far ahead.
Oh wow!
They were going to skip her. They were. My brother, the smartest thing he ever did. They said no. She's not doing that. Let her live her life and be a kid. Don't advance her unless she wants to. Now, she is taking some high school and college courses right now, but she's doing that pretty much on her own. So they're not forcing her to do it, which I think is great. Let her do what she wants to do. But to force an agenda down her throat, and then she wanted to talk about. She asked the question, why are they taking down all the history and the memory? She goes, I understand that people find it very offensive for the slavery stuff, but why wouldn't we be learning from that? And some of the other kids went, what do you mean? She said, like the Civil War, when we fought first, to free the slaves. Half the kids had no idea what she was talking about. Don't teach that in school anymore.
Well, not only that, but you got parents that don't fill them in either.
No, because that's an embarrassing part of history. No, it's history. Every piece of history out there is embarrassing to someone. But again, if we don't talk about it, we're going to be doomed to relive the damn thing again.
Sure.
So, I want to apologize to everybody. I've been going on for over 10 minutes now, bitching about this, but it really got underneath my skin when they said no, we won't observe September 11th for that. Because it was, we don't want to talk about it. If you don't talk about it, this shit's coming back.
I can I'm not really understand, but for them to say that they're not going to let the kids talk about it, but for them to say that there's no proof that it ever really happened.
But then you go to some of the other schools. So we had one lady who was her son went to school. And they not only brought it up and talked about it, they had an assembly on it yesterday, and they actually, they did all the respectful things. They brought firefighters in to talk about them. They had a gentleman who was in there, which I thought was really cool. The guy was on the I'm probably going to get this wrong, so I apologize. He was like on the 42nd floor of one of the towers, heard a bang, looked out his window, and there's sheets of paper flying by his window. And he's like, what the heck? Something's wrong. A window broke. So we might want to get out of here. So they started getting people down and out of the building, got down outside and went, what the heck's going on? Stepped away from the building just in time to look up to watch the second plane hit. And he was there. I witnessed the whole thing. And he's like, they brought him in to talk about this at the school. I thought that was the best thing they could have possibly done. Yeah, it's freaky. I mean, well, not freaky, but it's scary. And then he actually had, when the second plane hit, he realized that it was right above him. He actually, and about 40 or 50 other people went across the street and hugged the side of the wall as the chunks of the building and what part of the plane was falling fell on the streets in front of them. They helped get people out of vehicles and stuff, and then everybody took off running down the street.
Right.
He got to where his girlfriend was or something, grabbed her, they got in his car, shot down a wrong way down a one-way street, was leaving town. No one was on the highway that was driving because everybody had pulled over trying to figure out what was going on, got over the highway and stopped and started watching the towers fall. So, I mean, it was just, one of the ladies said her son was talking about it and had tears just running down his face. So I was like, you know what? He gets it. Some of the kids are getting it, and some of the kids I think are understanding it. But again, I think it should never not be talked about.
They need to know the world they're growing up in.
Yeah, it's parents that hide crap from their kids. Oh, people come over to our house and they'll be like, hey, don't cuss. Fuck you, you're in my house. Don't bring your kids to my house. Sorry. And then we go to some of our friends' house, and I think their kids Cuss more than the parents do.
But the parents don't know.
No, in front of the parents.
Oh. Well, I mean, Taylor's got some friends like that, too. And then she's got some that'll come over and Taylor will say a cuss word or something and her friend will just look at me and I'll be like, what?
It's life. Get used to it.
I mean, it just depends on what she says, but I don't let her get too crazy. She ain't allowed to do it out in public. When we're at home, it's a different story, but...
Yeah. All right, so you worked last weekend. Well, last week,
yes,
right?
Yes, I did.
So let's get over what we're supposed to be talking about.
Dead people. Spirits.
Dead people.
We're still talking about... I mean that in a non-offensive way, very non-offensive way. I did not mean it like that.
None offense taken. None taken.
I pay my respects every year. Huh? Well, I was the only one working, and I had 10 people, I think, all together. And the main floor kind of started out slow. We did have 3 past guests that had been with me, like at Randolph County, so I let them hang out in the basement when we were up on the main floor. They got some stuff down there. And after about maybe an hour session on the main floor, we took a quick break and we was down in the basement. And everybody was down there at the time. We weren't really getting much. Some were getting some EVP, we were getting Periscope hits. Phasma Box talked a little bit. But it wasn't until it was between 2 and 2:30 in the morning. We were down to about 5 guests, and then plus Angie and I. And we're all sitting in. I mean, for those that aren't familiar with Bobby, you haven't been to Bobby Mackey's either.
Nope.
But to get to the basement, you have to come from like out the main door and around the building to the side. And then there's a side door, and that takes you into the basement. When you first walk into the basement, about, 20, 30 feet ahead, you can make a right-hand turn, and it'll take you back through a little room and then back up into another small room up against, an enclosed room. To the right is the well that Zach's always talking about.
Okay.
So if you make that right turn, go through that little room and back into the back room, it's called the Faces Room. From where, like, water has leaked in on the walls and stuff, it actually looks like faces on the wall. There's like 4 or 5 faces on the wall. But it's just, well, how do you want to put it? It wasn't something somebody put on the wall or anything. It's just from where the water leaked down the wall.
Really?
Yeah. And one of them it actually looks like a woman with like long hair, and like one side, you can see like one side of her face, and then the other side of the face is like just completely dark. So it looks like maybe her face was burned or something. But that was all made from like water and stuff, leaking into the building. But the 5 of us plus Angie and I are sitting in this room, and we're doing just EVPs. It was quiet. We had 2 voice recorders going, and Angie's asking questions, as you'll hear here in this audio I'm going to play, because it's too good not to play. But you'll hear her, I kind of cut it short because it was about 6 minutes long, but you'll hear her asking if there's any spirits down there to make the flashlight flash twice, stuff like that. And then it gets really quiet. And then...
Don't give it away.
Okay, I'll play it, but I won't give it away. But she would, prior to that, which I don't have in this audio, she was asking, can you make a loud noise or a loud knock? So we pretty much got a response to it, but I'm going to play it. So turn your headphones up. When we talk, it's kind of loud, but once it gets quiet, you just got to listen. And I think there's like a clink of beer bottles before you actually hear it. I think that's how I can kind of tell where it's about to do it, but all right, let's give it a whirl.
If there are more than one of you down here, can you make that flashlight flash twice? Very quickly, make it flash twice, please. What was that? Fuck. That That was a bottle breaking. Yeah, something broke in there. It was. Is there anybody else in here?
No, those is it.
Did those other ladies leave? Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone.
Where the hell? From the barrels.
Did you do that? Hang on.
That was wild as hell. A beer bottle shattering and then the voices in the background. That was cool.
Yeah. So I the voice you were talking about earlier, I'm still having a hard time making it out. It's before that girl whispers, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Is where you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To be in that place, and when you're in the basement, you got the upper level above you, which is the bars right above us, and when they're collecting beer bottles up top, they toss them down this chute into these plastic bins, and they're all full of beer bottles and busted bottles, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint where that busted bottle came from or where the bottle came from that they shattered, because there's broken glass everywhere.
Do you think it was downstairs with you?
Yeah, it did not come down the chute. Like, we didn't hear it come down the chute. It sounded, because right before you hear that bottles actually hit and break, you hear what sounds like a bottle hitting a bottle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And you hear the bottles one more time in the recording before I shut it off. But for the lady that lets us in, to stand in the doorway and not want to go out there, because to get back out, I'll play it again here in just a minute too, but to get back out of this room, you got to go out of the room into this other little room, and then as soon as you get to the next doorway and you step out, to the right is all those tubs of beer bottles. So nobody really wanted to walk through there, considering we just heard a beer bottle hit another bottle and shatter. It was kind of funny, but I'll play it one more time because there is a voice also. You hear a female kind of whisper, "Oh shit," but that was one of the guests. And then right after that, you hear a male voice, and it's kind of drug out. It says like a couple words, and then it says like a couple more, but it's drug out. And then I'll tell you what I think it says after I play it again.
If there are more than one of you down here, can you make that flashlight flash twice? Very quickly, make it flash twice, please.
Here's the beer bottles.
What was that? Fuck. That was a bottle breaking.
Yeah, something broke in there.
It was.
Is there anybody else in here?
No, those is it.
Did those other ladies leave? Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone.
Where the hell? From the barrels.
Wait, what was that moaning?
I don't know. I can't go back on this thing.
Did you do that? Hang on.
Right here. Okay, so that's the end of it.
It sounded like "Get Out" or...
To me, it sounds like a male saying, "Get the fuck out," and then it drags out the "of here," right at the end. I don't know if that was moaning, though, or someone actually talking.
Okay. That was wild.
But I've been to Bobby Mackey's, oh God, at least 20 times. And I've never, ever heard the beer bottles. Never.
They seem to like you.
So, well, I mean, and it's been a long time since Angie's been there. Normally, like Laura will be there, Lauren will be there. There's another one that also comes in. Those women are from Gatekeeper Paranormal. They do a lot of the stuff for Bobby Mackey's, like the paranormal stuff for them.
Okay.
So, needless to say, that was an interesting night. And then, as I don't know, 3 or 4 of us left the basement, and Angie went back in. There was one gentleman left with us. That's how I know that the voice recorder was that wasn't the guy sitting next to me, because he didn't say anything. He went back in, and I think 2 or 3 other guests went back in with her, and I had 2 or 3 guests with me outside. And as we were outside, a white car drove by. Now, Bobby Mackey's is like, I want to say it's in the middle of nowhere, because it kind of is. It's like off of Newport on the river, and then on the other side of it, there's not much, but like one little local bar between us and a gas station. Like, there's not much on either side. So when we came out, this white car passed and did a U-turn and is sitting in the road with its headlights facing towards us while we're in the parking lot. And then it drives by really slow, goes up to the bridge, busts a U-turn on the bridge, and comes back by again really slow.
The hell?
So I had my CCW, and I asked Angie if it was okay. I said, I'm going to go put it on, Angie. I'm going to carry it. She said that 2 weeks ago, that cars got broke into in the parking lot there during a paranormal investigation. But they have a street light along the street, so you can park right up against the main road, or there's a tree line which runs along the railroad track. And it was the cars that were parked along the tree line is the ones that got broke into. And when she had told me that, I wasn't going to leave it in the truck anyway, so I brought it in with me. But shit like that happens every once in a while at Bobby Mackey's, just because it's in the middle of nowhere. But the beer bottles,
That's a new one.
I don't know what to think about that, because to be honest with you, in any place I've ever worked at, I mean, I've heard knocks and stuff, and other than RCI, that little chunk of wood being thrown or whatever, up in the attic, I have never heard anything like a beer bottle being picked up and thrown and busted.
Well, that means the next time you go, be careful, because it may be getting stronger or not liking it when you're there.
It could be that too. And I know that Angie did mention that they have had a couple people come in, and they've had to ask a guy to leave, that he brought a Ouija board in, placed it over the well, where the well's filled in, the hole, and was cutting his wrists and talking on trying to get responses through the Ouija board.
He was cutting his wrists?
Uh-huh. I'm like,
what?
And at that point, you're like, what the hell was he trying to communicate with?
No kidding.
It's obvious what his intentions were, but to keep having guests come in after people like that have been using a Ouija board it's a little scary. And to be honest with you, only having 10 people, I'm used to having 18 to 20 people there. That is the least people I've ever had there. Because usually I've worked with Beth, or Ann and I are there. I've hardly ever been there by myself. But it was an interesting... That was last Thursday night. That was an interesting ending to the night, let's just put it that way. Because all within a half an hour, you had the beer bottles and that white spooky-ass car.
Did people decide they were done?
We did have 2 leave, the 2 that were with me in the parking lot that saw the car pass, because they leaned up against my truck with me too. Every time the car went by, and then they were like, I think we're gonna leave. We had a really good time, but I think we're gonna leave. So they ended up leaving. And then the other 3 or 4, I believe they called it a night too. I mean, it was close to 3 o'clock, and then we finish up at 3, so we were all out by 3 a.m. But, yeah, that's definitely one for the books, one of the EVPs I'll be saving.
No kidding.
And, I don't know when I work again. You're not working again until like the end of September, and you didn't get to work anywhere this weekend either, huh?
No, unfortunately we didn't. Unfortunately we didn't.
Well, We did promise some people some paranormal terms 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
I apologize that we weren't live last week. I'm still getting over an upper respiratory infection, so trying to get this cough out. I'm suffering through tonight, just so you guys know. I love y'all.
Let's jump into these terms and questions or whatever we got.
Well, we did all the questions last time. Remember?
Yeah.
Those were some pretty good questions.
Yeah.
I still like the one, if you were a ghost, who and where would you haunt? One of my favorites.
I couldn't narrow that down to one location.
No. Alright. Some of these terms are the most common terms that we use in the field. Usually any of these are associated with paranormal pretty much, but the main one is paranormal. Literally above normal. It refers to anything outside or beyond current scientific explanation.
So, paranormal. It ain't normal, folks.
It's above normal.
Sometimes it's below normal, but it ain't normal.
And these are definitions courtesy of Google. Because Google is our friend.
Gotta love Google.
Cryptozoology. Which we don't hear very often. I do know a couple people that do and deal with cryptozoology, but you don't hear it very often. Just in I don't know, like in what we do, it's more of the private investigators. Cryptozoology is the study and pursuit of cryptids, creatures, traditionally considered mythical folklore stuff. For example, when we talk about Bigfoot, Chupacabra, the Loch Ness Monster, all that good stuff.
The leprechaun with the end of the rainbow with the pot of gold.
Or as Stan would say, the leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
That's what happens when it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and you've been investigating all night. You get tired. Leprechaun. Stan said he saw a leprechaun at RCI.
A leprechaun. Okay.
I was like, quit talking like me. Because I always take the first letter of each word. Like if I were to say pineapple chunks, I've said it backwards, like pineapple punks. So I guess he was around me enough to where he started saying shit backwards. A disembodied voice. What's a disembodied voice, Bill?
A disembodied voice? Let me guess. A voice you hear and there's no body?
Pretty much. That's our definition anyways, but Google's definition is a voice or noise that lacks an unexplainable source. So, I don't even know. Well, that is true, yes and no. But I mean, like, if you're in a room and you hear a disembodied voice, and it sounded like it came right from your left.
It's still disembodied. There's no body to be this to.
Yeah, but I don't know. That one's a weird one. I'm just like, I always tell people it's a voice that you can hear with your own ears, is basically what I say all the time. Because sometimes a lot of the stuff we catch on a recorder you don't hear with your own ears.
Yeah.
Elemental, which is a supernatural nature spirits that includes fairies, trolls, and banshees. Now, if you ask like Anne or Beth about the crawlers at RCI, they consider those elementals.
I don't know if I consider them elementals because...
You think they were actually human once?
Okay.
That's a tough one, ain't it?
That's a really tough one. I always thought that the crawlers were the most evil part of, or it was, how do I want to say this? They're not technically, they were human at one time, so they're still a spirit, but a crawler to me would be, and I may be wrong, a crawler to me would be that's the only part they can still manifest into. They can't get the full apparition to go to manifest, so they just they could get their torso and their body to be there, and they can control that, or they're trying to control it, but they just can't seem to, and maybe they can, or maybe that's all they want to show, or it's all our mind will allow us to see of them.
That's the good thing about this field. Who are we to say what's right and what's wrong?
So to me, I don't know if a crawler would be an elemental or not. I
don't know either, because I wouldn't. Well, I mean, I know they only listed like 3 examples with the fairies, the trolls, and the banshee, but I wouldn't consider a crawler either one of those.
No.
So maybe if it had better examples, maybe I would still second guess it. I see what you're saying too, though.
If there's a possibility that they can manifest into something, maybe that's what they manifest into. Maybe that's how they see themselves, and that's what they're trying to show us. That's what they see themselves as. It could be.
Maybe when they passed away, they didn't have lower extremities.
Or a head.
Well, I've never seen a crawler without a head. I've seen them. All I've seen is upper body, torso, and the head and the arms. Like, that was it.
That one down at Missouri State Pen, down in the psych area, it's just a torso and arms. There's no legs and no head. That's what we saw.
I haven't seen that one yet. I need to get down to Missouri again.
Yes, you do. So what's next?
A ghost.
What's the definition of a ghost, Shannon?
Refers to the soul of a deceased human or animal that continues to exist in some form on an earthly plane without crossing over.
I agree with that, except for one point. The crossing over piece. What's to say they haven't figured out how to cross over and come back? They may have been able to pull that off. To be able to go over and come back, and maybe they know something and they're trying to tell us something, and they've crossed over, saw what they need to see, and they're trying to give us information or trying to tell us something, so they come back to tell us.
That's a good point. See, that's why I wrote these down.
To confuse me.
An inhuman entity. A supernatural being, such as a demon or a jinn, or jinn, is that how you say it?
Jinn.
That did not begin its existence in human form.
Now, depending on what religion you're talking about, or depending who you're talking to, there's a lot of people that believe that every spirit and every entity that's out there is demonic.
Yeah.
So, I'm not knocking anybody, but I don't believe that myself. I don't believe that every one of them out there is evil and demonic all the time.
Well, you could just have an angry spirit, too. I mean, because that's happened, too. And a lot of people will think it's a demon just because it's an angry spirit. A pissed-off spirit.
That likes to throw beer bottles at people.
Yeah. I think he was only doing what Angie asked him to do. He did ask for a loud noise or a sign that somebody was there.
True.
You know? So, I didn't feel threatened. Yes, it kind of freaked everybody out because, a beer bottle being thrown and busted when there's nobody in that area is a little freaky, but none of us felt like we needed to just run the hell out of there. You know what I mean? Like, none of us felt that threatened. Although we did walk out of that room really, really slow.
I mean, so that kind of comes back to that same point. Are they all demonic? No,
I don't think they are.
But like I said, some religions do believe that any spirit or entity that's been left behind or has come back to let you know, or hasn't, but per se crossed over, is demonic. Right. So that's when I love to go back and say, so you're saying the Holy Spirit is demonic?
Okay, well, if we go to the next one is an intelligent haunting. Activity resulting from an aware ghost or spirit that interacts with its environment.
So, crawlers, beer bottle throwers,
Exactly.
brick throwers when they threw that when I got hit. Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of different ways we could go with this one, and all these actually.
Oh, I know. There's actually one here in a minute that, not the next one, but the one after that I can't pronounce. It's another one of those.
All right, what's the next one?
Well, the next one, which is one of the most common ones you hear when you're investigating, is an orb. There are so many definitions of an orb. and some people say that if you see like a red orb right away, it's demonic. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. But Google's definition: an often translucent circular anomaly or a ball of light seen in photography and sometimes with the naked eye, that also may depend on your theory, which, like me, some people, sometimes it could be a bug, dust, reflection.
Yep.
And then it even says here moisture or spirit energy. So that all depends on where you are. For me, like if you're at a cemetery and it's not windy or anything, you know what I mean? Obviously, you're not going to say it's dust in your photography. And some of the ones we caught, like the one guest caught at Missouri State Pen that was right above her head or whatever, that was a good one. But that one had coloration to it. It was like
blue
and had like a orange or a red ring around it.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, if you are in like an attic and you're moving around and then you're snapping pictures, to me, 9 times out of 10, you're getting a lot of dust. You do get those energy streaks though, a lot, which you can tell obviously is not a piece of dust. But as far as an orb, I don't know. It's kind of hard not to. I don't know. I don't have too many pictures with good orbs.
We have a lot of pictures of what people want to call orbs, and
anything circular in their photos, though. Like a lot of people be like, "Is that an orb? I got a good orb," and they'll show it to you. And I'm not one for busting somebody's bubble. I mean, I'm not one for saying, "Yeah, it is" or "it isn't," because if I'm not sure, I'm not going to tell them, "No, it's not an orb."
True.
But those are hard too.
Orbs are one of the most caught, but the most hard to explain, I guess. Easiest way to say it. What do you have? I have a circle with it's a circle with a bunch of stuff on the inside of it. Is it an orb, or is it? Did you get a speck of dust? Did you get a bug? Did you get a reflection that you don't know about? It's so hard to say.
I know, and if you look up a definition of an orb, there's so many different sites that give you like the meanings of different color orbs that you see. Like you'll have one site tell you that red orbs are bad. If you see a red orb, get out. And then you got another one telling you that they're not bad. So, I mean, it's hard to actually decipher what's right and what's wrong as far as the color meanings. But I don't know. But you hear about orbs a lot.
Yeah.
In this field. Now, the next one, Pareidolia. Pareidolia. Well, that's not how it's spelled.
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
What's the definition it has there?
Also known as matrixing. It is the brain's perception of a meaningful pattern with random sounds or images.
So let's break that down into layman's terms. Pareidolia is where you see something and your brain thinks it's something that it's not, which can go right back to orbs, or it can go a shadow or something moving that if you sit there long enough and you do this long enough and you hunt long enough, your brain will play tricks on you all the time.
Oh, definitely.
Your eyes will mess with you so bad sometimes. It's especially in the dark. because your eyes are trying to find light. And pareidolia is always, not. I'm not saying there's anything there, but 9 times out of 10, you can look at it and still sit there and stare at it for a while, and your eyes will tell you something's there. Your brain will tell you something's there, and you'll guarantee you saw something, but probably didn't see anything because it's your eyes playing tricks on you. And that can happen. That can happen in the daylight too. That just doesn't have to be in the dark. So
this is true. The next one is another one mostly is common with paranormal, and it's possession, which is the state where an entity inhabits and exerts a level of control over a living thing or object. Which I'm sure enough people have seen movies
to understand what a possession is.
Yeah. And actually, I think on YouTube, you can actually watch the original footage. I think there's 2 parts of it on YouTube of the original footage of the exorcism of Carl from Bobby Mackey's.
Did someone get my
possessed?
Brain just went did someone get possessed there?
Yeah, Carl, he was the the caregiver, the caretaker.
Okay.
Like, he helped take care of the place, and if anything was going wrong, he'd fix it, stuff like that. He lived there. They actually have it's called Carl's apartment. It's right up some stairs.
Wow.
Yeah. So, they said he was possessed, and they actually brought it in, and you can tell it's so old that it looks like it was recorded VHS tape.
Wow.
But there's 2 parts to it, but you can actually watch it on YouTube. So if anybody's interested in watching that. We got 2 more.
Okay.
A residual haunting, which is a repetitive paranormal activity resulting from the energy imprint of a person or event in time.
And break it down. So it's a haunting that happens over and over the same way every time. It's almost the easiest way to say it is it's on a loop.
Like Groundhog Day.
The entity doesn't know it's there. It doesn't know it's doing it. You may see someone walk through your dining room every night at 9 o'clock because that's what that person was doing. Had always done. And they don't interact with you. They don't talk with you. They don't stop and stare at you or throw a beer bottle at you. It's just something that happens over and over again because that's what was imprinted in that area or on that property or in that their imprint from their spirit left there.
They're just stuck there in a loop.
Yep.
And the last one is a shadow person. Commonly reported as a cloudy black mass that moves fast or slow, usually seen out of your peripherals.
Or it jumps right in your face.
Or that too.
Yeah, and makes Bill go down to one knee and almost poop himself. Shadow
and for a
person.
spirit to do that to Bill?
That's the first time it's ever happened. A shadow person. If you see one, you'll never forget it. If you looking for one, you'll never see it. Again, like Shannon said, if it catches you, it's something that just happens. And you catch it out of the corner of your eye, or all of a sudden you're looking at a video you took and you're like, what is that? And you have to watch it over and over again and then put it on a program so you can zoom in on it and look and you see something move. And it's one of the biggest phenomenons that we catch that is the most awesome thing to catch. Other than, a voice telling you to die or something.
Or go to hell.
Yeah, leave.
Or get the fuck out of here.
You will leave now.
That was fucking creepy, dude. That
Thanks.
was creepy.
It kind of hurt too, actually.
Yeah, it hurt me.
So I do have something to throw in here real quick. So we did a private hunt with our private group, and we were working on. It's an old church that has been turned into a youth center, and the kids are having issues there. And I had something happen to me that that has never happened. I decided to try something, and I want to thank Andrew from Ghost Hunts USA because he kind of put me onto this lady's a meditation stuff, and I've been listening to it a lot. And I just decided I was going to try something. Everybody was running around, and I just where Michelle and Kelly and the couple of people that were feeling stuff was in one of the stairwells. So I sat in the stairwell, and everybody kind of left me alone. And I just decided, okay, close your eyes, meditate, just relax, let it come to you, and whatever.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I started seeing. It was like flashes of pictures. It was the same picture that was it was like trying to flash into my head. So we decided we were going to go outside, and I couldn't get that image out of my head, and couldn't get this image out of my head. And I asked the priest that was there, I said, "Where's the little girl buried?" Because that's what I was seeing. I kept seeing a little girl standing next to a grave.
You have a hat on?
What?
Did you have a hat on?
Probably. I always have a hat on.
Okay.
Why?
Continue. Nothing. Continue.
Okay. So I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I asked him, and he goes, "Well, there is only like 2 graves on that entire property, and one of them's a little girl." And when I go, "Where?" They're over. And I started looking around, and I kind of they're over in them trees over there. It's got to be, because that's the only thing that looks right. Went over there, and there's the grave, and one of them's a little girl. So
okay.
It's never happened to me before where I got flashes of images, and it took a lot out of me. And I felt like I got beat up almost. I was so drained of energy, but was able to. That's the first time, and it scared the crap out of me. Actually, is what it did, because it was like that was too much coincidence for that to happen. It was too much to be a coincidence. I knew nothing about the property. I just went straight up and asked him, and Michelle even kind of looks at him like, "There's graves here?" "Well, yeah, there's 2. They're over in and I was like, "They're over in that tree line somewhere." And I just started walking, and I walked right to them. But I got the same picture of, and I've had it a couple times come back and flash at me, and I think we're going to go back and do this church one more time, and I want to sit there and see if I can sit through it even longer this time. Now, why the hell did you ask me if I had a hat on?
Well, do you remember me telling you that Tyler's always telling Beth and I to not wear a hat because it covers up our third eye? It's not allowing our minds to open up completely to experiencing everything that we could possibly experience. That's why I was asking if you possibly had a hat on that night, or if you didn't.
See, now you got me thinking, did I have a hat on or didn't I? Now I don't know, but I always wear a hat.
I know you do. And I do too. In moments like flying beer bottles, if I didn't have a hat on and I opened myself up a hell of a lot more, would I have been hit with a beer bottle? I don't know. So
see now I don't know. But see, and it's one thing that this lady her name is Laura Evans. She's a medium, and she has these free podcasts out there that teach you how to. There's a whole list of them. If you go to her site, which is mediumlauraevans.podmatic.com. There's all sorts of them for like, and the one I've been listening to, which kind of makes sense, is children's angel meditation.
okay.
And then, but the one right before it is like past lives meditation. So I don't know. My brain has a hard time calming down sometimes. Obviously, I don't sleep, so I've been trying to use more meditation to help me with this. And so I've been listening to these things, and I've downloaded them. I listen to them at work, and there's all the different ways she tells you to relax and what to do and how to breathe and everything. And I've been trying them, really honestly have. So Andrew turned me onto these, and it's been wild.
Is it helping?
Yeah, it actually is. I'm positive it's been helping me out. But she's got a whole bunch of one of the biggest ones, and I tell people that if you're going to listen to any one of the ones she has, one of the best ones you could do, and do it before a ghost hunt, is to ground yourself.
Oh,
and
definitely.
learn how to ground yourself. And she has a really good one on here walking you through grounding and how to get to that plane, and actually how, going up this, how to ground yourself and visualize the roots and your energy going into the earth and grounding you in spiritual and locking you to the earth, and then how to work your way, what is it? Oh God, I can't think of the other one. It kind of teaches you how to, it's kind of work with your spirit guides and how to relax and how to go up the stairs. It's a kind of a stairwell meditation that'll you picture your.
You have energy coming out your feet or whatever, and then you bring that energy back up through.
Yep, and
is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yep, and it helps you go to work. It kind of talks you into working your way up a set of steps, and then you see the door, and I guess that's the spirit guide one that helps you to try to connect to your spirit guides. I haven't figured that one out completely yet. I'm still working on it. But yeah, if you get a chance, I'm going to actually right now post this link on our Facebook site for anybody who wants to use it. It's, like I said, it's a really awesome one to use. She is just amazing. With her stuff, the way she does it.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna got about a minute, so I'm gonna blast out the 101 class in public investigation at Ashmore is September 22nd. Don't forget this weekend in Lexington, Kentucky, we got Scarefest going on. It's the 14th through the 16th. Go to scarefest.com for more details on that. And then Ash Bash at Ashmore State, September 28th through the 30th. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for tuning into Armed Radio and listening to Talk Live Paranormal tonight. Bill, you're awesome as always.
And you are so awesome, Shannon.
So awesome. We're just so awesome.
Well, it's still out on that, but we'll work on it.
And thank you again to all the troops out there. We support you 100%.
Always yes, will. Do. Always 100%. You guys are awesome. And thanks to Jimmy for running the show for us tonight. You're a true friend, Jimmy. You really
Thank
are.
You, Jimmy. You're my friend till the end.
All right, we don't thank everybody. We'll see you in the dark.
Have a good night.